to this woman and everyone like her and all the people who use that kind of tone of voice and that kind of argumentation. And, you're actually kind of, did you? I don't know if you're on TikTok. I'm not. Although, I was reliably informed. I heard this in the member block yesterday. I've been reliably informed by a number of my Zoomer friends that there are Michael Knowles thirst traps going around on TikTok, which means obviously these women on TikTok, these young women and probably some homosexual men who are making these, they've got great taste. That's obviously with that. But I avoid TikTok, which is why I avoid videos like this lady calling all of us fascists.
Hey, I know. Let's play a game. The game is called You Know You're a Fascist When. You know you're a fascist when you chant freedom while cheering for mass deportations without due process. You know you're a fascist when you think banning books and gutting universities is saving America. You know you're a fascist when you believe soldiers should be loyal to a person, but not the Constitution. You know you're a fascist when you demand law and order unless the law is investigating your favorite politicians. You know you're a fascist when you want to lock up opponents, but pardon your own criminals. You know you're a fascist when you think elections are rigged unless your guy wins. You know you're a fascist when you call yourself a patriot while rooting for a third term like it's a third world dictatorship. You know you're a fascist when you call the press the enemy because they told the truth.
I wonder how much of the recent political shift, the shift to the right that gave Trump the popular vote, the shift to the right that moved young voters 10 points in 2024, I wonder how much of the shift owes to this woman and everyone like her and all the people who use that kind of tone of voice and that kind of argumentation. And, you're actually kind of, did you? We've had enough of that. That thing, whatever that thing is, that dominated for like 20 years. I would say that in the classroom, in the workplace, that tone, that affect, that condescension, that utterly ignorant condescension, totally fact-free, that dominated throughout the public square for about 20 years. We've had enough of that. I love women. I adore women. I do. I don't have a misogynistic bone in my body. But ladies like that, they need to get off TikTok. They need to stop. They need to stop commenting in the public square. Someone needs to stop them for their own good, to stop that kind of discourse. We're done with that, especially because the semantic value of calling someone a fascist now is a more extreme version of what it's always been. The reason that the left calls people fascists, and especially Nazis, is to justify violence against them. If you had the opportunity to stop Hitler, would you take it? The answer is supposed to be yes. And if you could stop Hitler, but you had to use some immoral means, you had to, commit murder, or you had to do anything would be justified, right? Stopping Hitler could be accomplished by any means necessary in the popular conception. So that's what it means. If you call someone a fascist, or especially a Nazi, what it means is, hey, you can be killed, and it would be good if you were killed. That's always what it has meant. Since the assassination of Charlie, that's quite explicitly what it means. It's a direct tie-in. And we're not going to tolerate empty-headed people casually throwing this around anymore. Because there are immediate consequences to that now that are extreme consequences. A lot depends upon it. And silly, frivolous people like that woman on TikTok cannot be trusted with political power and authority. We need to get serious again. It draws right back to what Pete was saying about the military. For a while, when we didn't think we had many national threats, we were in kind of a silly season geopolitically. Okay, we can tolerate some trannies in the military. Why not? We'll just have some social experiments. Okay, And yeah, we can all have a slumber party. And maybe the guys on the ship, they can have a pillow fight or something. Yeah, okay, whatever. Now that geopolitics is really heating up, now that Russia's really doubling down in Ukraine, the war in Gaza hasn't ending yet, China's licking its lips, looking at Taiwan. Now that like real stuff's happening, we're going after the drug boats coming from Venezuela. Now that we gotta, silly season's over and we gotta get serious. And no, obviously we can't have transvestites in the military. That's ridiculous. And yeah, no, we're not gonna, if you're inciting violence against the right, you're gonna lose your job and you're gonna be kicked out of polite society and you might go to jail. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. We should let you know it's serious again. And your frivolity is done. Your frivolity at best. There's no more time for that. That was a great clip. Now stop, ring the bell, subscribe. We'll see you next time.